So in this video we're going to continue with our root matrices. I put up a slightly more complicated example in this one, and importantly you might notice that it includes a loop there, so there are going to be some things that change because of that. But for now we can essentially go through and populate our root matrix over here the exact same way we did in the previous video. So like before, looking at going from town A to town A, there are 0 possible ways that you can do that without going through another town. Going from town A to town B, there is one way. Going from town A to town C, there is one way. And going from town A to town C, from town A to town D, there are 2 possible ways. Okay, that's because we've included this additional root. So there's one there, and then there is one going up here. Okay, so there are 2 ways to get to that town. Okay, completing the rest of the matrix, from town B to town A, there is 1. From B to B, there is 0. From B to C, there is 1. And from B to D, there is 1. Okay, now going from C to A, there is 1. From C to B, there is 1. And from C to C, there are 2. Okay, this is important to remember. If you have a loop up here, like this, there are 2 possible ways that you can go from C back to town C, because you can go clockwise or you can go anti-clockwise. Okay, it is important to make that distinction, because one of the most common mistakes students make is they put that there's only one possible road or one route. Okay, but whilst there is one road, there are 2 ways that you can travel across it. Okay, continuing to fill out the rest of it, from C to town D, there are 2 also. Okay, and the same reason, you have this one going along here, and then you have the internal one. Completing this, from D to A, there are 2. From D to B, there are 1. From D to C, there are 2. And from D to D, there are 0. Now, again, you will notice in this matrix, so it's a square matrix, our root matrices are always going to be square matrices. If you go along this diagonal, it is mirrored. That means this one here is mirrored with that one there. This one here is mirrored across the diagonal there. This one is mirrored with this one. This 2 is mirrored with that 2. And it continues on. So 1 here, 1 there, 2 there, 2 there. That essentially means for this type of matrix, you can just fill out along the diagonal and then flip it across. But we'll do that in later videos. Now the thing I want to talk about now is how you do 2-stage root matrices. So they can be quite complicated to do, especially in bigger networks, if you just work them out by hand. So what I'm going to show you how you would work out going from town A to town A and how many possible ways there are to do that. So looking at this diagram, you could start at town A, go to C and back. So that's 1. You could go to B and back, that's 2. Go to D and back, that's 3. Go to D and back that way, that's 4. Or go D and then back up that way, that's 5. And then D and back up that way, that's 6. Okay, so there are 6 possible ways from going from A to A. Now I went through that quite quickly because it is very complicated to go through and do every single point through every single point. So what I want to show you now is if you use the matrix multiplication that we have used before, you can actually create your 2-stage root matrix by simply using matrix multiplication. Now I know a 4 by 4 matrix is quite large, to do the matrix multiplication. So this would be an example of when you could just use your class pad to do this for you. Now, I'm not going to show you how to use the class pad to do matrices in this video. I'll put up a separate video or I'll show you in class. But for now, I'm going to do that first multiplication to get this element, and then the rest of it, I'm just going to use my class pad. So that first one will be timesing this row here by this column here. So it'll be 0 times 0 plus 1 times 1 plus 1 times 1 plus 2 times 2. So simplify that, 1 plus 1 plus 4. And wouldn't you know that it equals 6, which was exactly what we got when we did it the longer, more complicated way. So I'll do one more example to get another element, and then I'm just going to plop it into my calculator because I don't want to be here all night. So we'll do from B to A. So now we're going to find all the possible combinations if you were able to go through one town from town B to town A. So we're going to use this row here and this column here. So that will be 1 times 0 plus 0 times 1 plus 1 times 1 plus 1 times 2. Okay, so we have 0 times 0 times 1 plus 2, so we have 3. Okay, I'm going to populate the rest of this. So if you want to at home experiment with your class pad and see if you can work out how to add matrices in it, that's fine. You should get this exact answer that I'll be putting down here. Also, if you really are bored at home because of staying there, you can go through and try to find every single possible way to get from C, so from town C to town C, going through one other town, because there are 10, so there are quite a few, and it's very easy to miss them. So I'll leave it at that. I'll put up a further video in the next coming days about how to add matrices in your class pad, but I'll leave it at that for now.